And speaking of COVID, talk about that. Like, talk about how much you really had. Like, you already do a lot, but now you're in the middle of a pandemic, and you have a lot of athletes who play overseas. So how is all of this working?
It's been a mission, but if you're not built for it, you wouldn't last. I actually, just to tell everyone, man, I've only been in this for a year, and I came in during COVID, and to be blessed to have clients playing at the highest level abroad is a blessing. And man, I wanted to quit. Just to be fully honest, I was like, all right, being an agent during COVID, this ain't gonna work out.
This ain't working.
I can't go to no games. I couldn't recruit. I'm like, what am I gonna do? But it just shows you that, man, if you don't quit and just stay solid, that you'll be rewarded. And all of my guys signed. And I mean, recently, the last one, signed. He's going to play in Asia.
Okay.
That's a tough market to get in.
Yeah.
For a rookie. That's not.
That's not an easy league just
that's
to jump
not an
into.
easy league. So I'm grateful to have gotten him in there and put him in the
Lil'
place.
mama only showing love just to take mine. How could you make excuses but can't make time? How I'm supposed to fix your demons that can't face mine? Don't invest in the appearance, need a great mind. Cause she could change the way she look, but she can't change grind. The baddest woman got that hustle that you can't find.
Welcome back to Opinionated, the podcast, Miami edition. I am your host, Joshua Hicks, and alongside me, as always, is my brother from another mother, Reed Washington. And today, he don't need no introduction, but I'm gonna tell Mr. Noop himself, Michael Birts. How you doing, Mike?
Appreciate you, brother, man. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm in good company, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
No problem. I had to return the honor because I was one of your first guests on your podcast, so I had to come back and return the favor.
I mean, you did. The intro was everything. I didn't know my resume got so long yet, but I ain't need no introduction.
Hey,
but I
man,
appreciate
you
it.
distinguished. So, Mike, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. Well, I haven't been on the world too long yet, but 27 years, it feel like I've been here for a while. Born and raised in Florida City, Florida. Just to give everybody a landmark, that's the last city in Dade County. So 1 for me is a powerful number in my life. First of all, my city is Exit 1. I'm the first son in my family. First one to go off and play college basketball. And just recently, the first one to graduate law school. And now, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. And now I'm the first sports agent.
And you also left out a little minor detail, man. HBCU grad, ain't it?
Oh, yeah, always. FAMU Law. Shout out to my Rattlers.
Yes, sir.
The baddest HBCU in the land, if I must say.
He said that. We grand fam around here. But we ain't going to hold you HBCU for life. So, Mike, tell us how you got into being a sports agent.
Oh, man, it wasn't an easy task. Took a lot of prayer, man, first and foremost. I'm grateful for God for leading me down this path, because for the longest I struggled with trying to figure out how can I make an impact by giving back to, those around me, but also, try to support yourself financially. Obviously, we all want to get paid for things, we do and we love. And I went to law school, and I'm like, all right, the usual trajectory is do 3 years, you sit for the bar, go become an attorney, you go into court, you handling case files or whatever the case may be, whatever area of law you're doing. But I was like, that's not for me. I'm a former athlete, and everybody in my circle played sports. Like we used to rock out when we were younger. So I'm like, all right, how can I take what I'm learning in school, have sports as a platform, but at the same time give back to those around me? So that was my 3. And as I did my homework and I saw, everybody with that legal background that, necessarily didn't become attorneys, they were sports agents. And I'm like, man, this definitely could be something I could see myself doing. And then, I could hit all 3 of those bullet points that I just mentioned that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I rocked out, and now I'm sitting before y'all today.
And I mean, just me knowing you personally, I also know that, some of your mentors that you like to look up to is LeBron and Maverick Carter, and their big mantra is, more than an athlete. how did you come about knowing, okay, look, college basketball, I probably reached where I'm going to make it in this particular sport, but I still love it so much that I want to become a sports agent?
Ooh, them men right there are my blueprint, man. Like, across the board, you know, starting with Bron, you know, a lot of people don't know he didn't have to do what he did, you know, in terms of setting up his friends, his homeboys, you know, for the just to turn the tone down a little bit. But he didn't have to do that, and it took a lot of trust, I believe, trust and vision for him to do that and put his own in position. I say that because normally, as African American men, being in a predominantly Caucasian business, and being around business professionals on the business side of sports that don't look like, you know, you yourself, you tend to only want to hire them. And for him to have, you know, his manager, Maverick, his sports agent, Rich Paul, and his day-to-day operations through Ernie, it's incredible. And I was like, man, I may not be around a LeBron from Florida City, so to speak, but we could take that same aspect, dumb it down a little bit, and, you know, teach kids that they could do the same. So that's why.
And I mean, you know, you mentioned Florida City a lot, Exit One. But how did that upbringing mold you into the man you are today?
Man, I had the best of both worlds. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm grateful for that because I was put in a unique situation. I say that because I would be crazy to not be doing what I'm doing right now. I was blessed to be able to have my mom and my dad in my life. You know, not everybody get dealt those cards. So to go against the grain and be a knucklehead, that that wasn't for me. So to you know, be able to relate and have the experiences that I had, I feel like I gotta put my city on and never forget that. You know, because it's each one reach one for me. You know, if I can give back, I gotta do it. You know, the next person coming up, I want them to be better than me.
Yeah. Speaking of giving back, you have a podcast as well. So what made you do that? Because I remember him telling me he was on yours. So.
I wanted to highlight people in my community as well, man, and other folks in the world that are out here, you know, taking their passions and turning them into money for themselves. That's why I titled it "Dreams the Currency." Shameless plug, but
hey, it ain't no shameless plug.
Check
we'll
me
give
out.
It to you.
So I had to have Hicks on there, man. Like I've seen him come up. You know, when I was at South Dade playing, you know, he was a young bull coming in himself as a freshman, sophomore, and you know, to see what he doing now with this, I was like, he got to be on the show. There's no question about it. Yeah. So that I just took that essence and wanted to put it on the audio, as a platform to give people gems to whether they're driving, working out, they can just hit play and learn something new.
And I mean, you know, I had to get you on the show because most people don't have a contact like you, right? You know, you hear about sports agents, but how many of us actually really know a sports agent? So just to break down for anybody who is watching, who is trying to aspire to be one, can you like tell them just your basic day-to-day and your schedule and your routine and what you do?
Yeah, I got you. No day is the same. If you think what you see on Ballers or what's the one everyone Jerry Maguire, it's not that at all. I mean, I'm more than an agent, like I always say in my hashtag. I'm a travel agent. I had to book a flight for a client to get his girlfriend over there just the other day to come visit him. I'm a counselor. Thankfully, I have that legal background. I'm part-time attorney. So day-to-day is different. It depends on what challenge that I'm going to have and face that day. But for the most part, you're a manager. You're taking advantage of being able to be in position to help an athlete outside of just his respective sport. I'm in basketball, but you know, my reach extends far beyond that. You know, all my guys are first generation professional athletes. So they're dealing with their own set of challenges of how to navigate this thing, being a rookie on top of that, and then dealing with COVID.
So it's like you're taking on their trauma as well.
Exactly.
And speaking of COVID, talk about that. Like, talk about how much you really had. Like, you already do a lot, but now you're in the middle of a pandemic, and you have a lot of athletes who play overseas. So how is all of this working?
It's been a mission, but if you're not built for it, you wouldn't last. I actually, just to tell everyone, man, I've only been in this for a year, and I came in during COVID, and to be blessed to have clients playing at the highest level abroad is a blessing. And you know, I wanted to quit, just to be fully honest. I was like, all right, being an agent during COVID, this ain't gonna work out.
This ain't working.
I can't go to no games. I couldn't recruit. I'm like, what am I gonna do? But it just shows you that, man, if you don't quit and just stay solid, that, you know, you'll be rewarded. And all of my guys signed, you know, and I mean, recently, the last one, you know, signed. He's going to play in Asia. Okay. That's a tough market to get in if you're a rookie. You know, that's not,
that's not an easy league.
That's not an easy league. You know, so I'm grateful to have gotten him in there and put him in the place. He leaves in a few weeks. But COVID brought on challenges like visas. Not everybody could travel. Wherever you went abroad, you had to have certain documentation. And then the PCR test, you know, as we know, some places, not everybody had rapid testing. So that brought on challenges.
And just speaking about like one of your recent clients, tell us a little bit about how it is to have your brother as one of your clients.
Man.
It's interesting.
It's interesting because that entitlement factor cannot be there. And I'm grateful to not feel entitled. I don't feel entitled to represent my brother at all just because he's my blood. I told him to take all your interviews, you know, regardless of the name of the agency, the size of the agency. And one thing he said he noticed, he's like, you know, a LeBron mentality. He was like, man, why wouldn't I empower you? And when I see you have the same qualifications, you know my game better than anybody, and you actually, you know, won't sell me a dream. You know, a lot of people, when they become agents and they recruit, they tell these kids, you know, you're an NBA player right off the bat without even, you know, really knowing them. And then when that time's come and the kid's name is not called or, you know, they get a contract but they don't stay in the league, they're mad at the sports agent, you know. So he said he got that feel from a lot of people recruiting him. And, you know, he was like, all right, man, let's do this. You know, what better time than now for me and you to take this walk together.
And I mean, athletes are different nowadays too, right? This is a whole different generation where now you're competing against social media, right? A lot of these guys, when we were growing up, we just word of mouth. Hey, this guy right here could play. But you didn't know that until you saw them. Now, these guys are big on social media. So not only are you trying to recruit them to come to your agency, it's like, man, okay, I got to bring you and your millions of followers. How do you break it down to somebody who was a star in high school, but like now trying to go pro? You're like, hey, man, you got to know your limits. This is the league that you probably going to be best at. You're not going to make it to the NBA. How do you break that down to some clients or potential clients?
The first thing, I like playing the long game. I don't, you know, slow motion is better than no motion. If we don't get, you know, picked up by a team right away, or, you know, you don't get in the G League, it's not over. The ball can continue to roll. So that's the first thing I tell guys, and I try to have an extensive plan to have that ABCD, because basketball is an international game. So if you don't get to point A, hey, point B could be just as good, but it'll also give you time to develop your game and then segue back to revisit point A. But so just to piggyback on the core of that question that you asked, social media is a gift and a curse. I think because success has become so glamorous to people now, people don't trust the process. Rome wasn't built in a day. Even God took his time and built the world in 7 days. I mean, to some, that's quick. But if you really read and see how long he did it, what he did with that, with those, that time, you can equate that to your development and your process. And I try to teach guys that when I'm working with working with them, because you have to keep the main thing. Everybody want an endorsement deal. Everybody wants
their own shoe.
But if you laying an egg on that court, or getting in trouble off the court, ABCD off the court won't take care of itself. Even Jordan said it in The Last Dance. He was like, there would be no Jordan 1, Jordan 2, Jordan 3, or Jordan 11s if I wasn't dedicated to my craft. If one of the GOATs of the game, I'm going to say one.
I'm
not going to call him B. I'm going to say one. We all know who my GOAT is. But I'm going to say one of the GOATs of the game. If he could have that same mindset and you haven't even touched an NBA floor, why wouldn't you listen to that and take that same approach to your career?
Just to spin off the back end,
yeah.
Have you ever had to play that bad guy? So A, B, and C is not working out. Is it time to switch lanes? Is it time to do something different? Have you had to play that role yet?
Not yet. The most I've gotten to is B. All of my guys were fortunate to have NBA interviews because we couldn't go to camp. There was no training camp process because of COVID. So, a lot of them were able to fill out that process a little bit. But, given their evaluations, we were like, all right, cool. We're not going to get drafted. G League ended up only being in a month season. Let's go overseas, play, staying in shape, and then we'll get a full calendar year to revisit the NBA again, NBA and G League.
And, being a sports agent, it's not always about quantity as much as it is quality. Like, what do you look for in an athlete when you're trying to represent them, like, for your company?
First and foremost, I need dogs. You got to be a killer. This a grown man's game. I'm telling you right now, even myself, I looked myself in the mirror the other day when I was, going through the workout plans and film and all of that. I'm like, I wasn't ready. Even when I played, and I was pretty good. And I'm like, I wasn't ready for this. If I'm gonna look in the camera and tell you, being a professional athlete, keyword, professional athlete, it's not for everybody. Don't get caught up in the money. Don't get caught up in the girls. Your life has to be dedicated to your craft. You can be cut at any time. You can be traded at any time. And you always have to be on go. You always have to be 100%, not even 100%, 300% the best version of yourself to perform at this level.
Locked in
at all times. Then we can have that vacation. We can go to Tulum and, go to Vegas or whatever we want to do.
I think a lot of kids, they just see LeBron. They don't know everything that he had to do first before he became who he is now. And, of course, social media plays a role in that again, going back to that because it's instant gratification. Oh, you had a 30-point game. Somebody saw it on social media. Oh, you going D1. And it's like he played 15 games previously. He only averaged 6 points. You just saw that 30-point game.
Correct.
Don't sell that kid that dream. And you could call it, being mean or harsh, but it's the truth, right? And, I mean, you have to play that bad guy role in your position, right? You have to let your guys know, hey, you're not A, but you fit right here between B and C. You can get there. So you also mentioned that you have to be the counselor. But how do you de-stress? How does Mike Birts, when he's done, he's back home, his phone is off, well, not off because it can never be off, but you have it on mute. How do you just relax?
Man, family time is real big for me. I'm real big on family. I recently just got engaged, so
congratulations.
Appreciate you. Got locked down.
How'd that feel, man?
Feel good, man. Power of a good woman, that fellas. A good woman will take you a long way.
I've heard of that.
Like for real. I had to wake up and finally see it, but everything in order in terms of relationships. So I'm happy about that. And then I have my parents, so try to spend time as much as I can with them, and put pause on the game. You know, I try not to watch any basketball, at least the half, like, don't take a full day watching basketball because I'm real big into watching film, you know, trying to see what's going on in the NBA league-wise. And then I take an hour a day of just meditating and praying and reading. So I'll unplug just for 1 hour, and then I'll cut the phone back on. So those my de-stressors.
Then it's back to work.
Yeah, back to work.
So, Mike, and this may not be a fair question, but I got to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, man. Woo. I mean, I have plans, but long term, I want to be one of the best in the game. I'm going to be one of the best in the game in terms of sports agent-wise. I think my next move is just put everybody on their toes a little bit. It's the head in the football. That's only natural because of
You're in South Florida. You're in the prime position.
Got to. So football is next, but continue to be a student of the game, learn every aspect of this business. And my long-term goal is to hopefully in 5 years have 3 picks in the first round of the NBA draft, and 1 in the first round of the NFL draft. And if the opportunity presents itself, you know, work in the front office for an NBA team.
And you going to send them to Opinionated the podcast to get interviewed?
Send them to Opinionated the podcast. But we're going to be bigger than that.
Hey,
we're going to be like Earn Your Leisure, man.
Hey,
I already know we're going to be good.
But, Ree, you got any questions for Mike while you got him?
Nah, I don't got no right now.
Mike just leaving you speechless. I mean, your presence, man, like, where do you get that confidence?
Failure. I embrace failure. You know, I enjoy, like I've been repeating, I sound like a broken record, but I love the process.
You don't. I think it's necessary.
Yep, I love it. I'm telling you, it's nothing like being able to say you're going to do something and do it. Prove everybody wrong. That's the most beautiful thing about the process. Because 1, you get better, and then 2, you achieving a goal at the same time.
I think it's more of you prove yourself right.
Right.
Not even everybody wrong, because you know they ain't there from the get-go.
Exactly. So, see, that's you got a good co-host, brother. I like him already.
That's my man right there.
That's the man. I already can see. But
like, if you had to talk to your younger self, what would you tell your younger self? All the knowledge that you have now, would there be anything that you would change?
Nothing I would change, but I would tell my younger self, take your time, man. Walk soft, and just fall in love with the process. I didn't have this mentality. Now, I always had ambition, but I always, like this generation, when you're young, you want that everything to click right away. But it's just something funny about not getting what we want right away, but we always get it on time. Like it's crazy how it works out. Like I know all of us probably got individual goals or ambitions that we have respectively, and you know we probably wanted them to happen in 2020.
Yeah,
but
everybody's path is different.
Yeah.
Answer that question. If you could tell your younger self something,
step on more toes. And I don't mean that in an arrogant or cocky way, but I understand who I am, right? And I think oftentimes I may have dimmed my light just to let others feel successful. And it's not because my success, you know, did anything to make them feel irrelevant. I wanted everybody to feel comfortable. And by letting everybody feel comfortable, you dim your own light, your own success. So if I had to tell my younger self, hey, go out there, step on a few more toes. You're not going to hurt anybody.
Wow.
How about you?
I think I'll tell myself to listen. I used to be one of those ones who used to react. Do something to me, I'm reacting right then and there. I'm going to take care of the problem right there because I don't want to have to deal with it on the back end. I think I'll tell myself to listen, slow down. I think recently, last year is when it really hit, the growth hit. And sometimes it takes losing yourself to find yourself because it take you down that road like you'll never travel again, so you won't do anything. You start to think before you do stuff. And I continue that now, then everything's changing slowly. But my circle's staying the same.
Solid.
We handpick them. I feel like that's a big thing to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I handpick who I want to be around.
Mm.
They bring different aspects out in you. He bring out a lot of me. And then the people I'm with also make me shine in different areas. So.
I like
And
that
I don't want to be biased towards you, but I also had another person from Florida City earlier, and I asked him the same question. Because I know you're going to be successful. I just know it. I feel it in my gut. What are your plans to build up or buy back your community build in Florida City?
Ooh, man, I don't want to give it away, but I got something big. We're going to talk about that offline. That's reason I wanted to come for the podcast, but that we planting seeds. We planting seeds and going to watch them grow. But, man, my goal is to we got to start here first. We got to shape young minds. You know, when you that side of town, man, it's not the best, and we know that, you know, sadly. So I want to just give kids exposure, so that way elevation will come and it'll be synonymous. You know, you cannot see yourself being somebody later down the line if you're not exposed to it. Exposure causes elevation. It's a byproduct. I truly believe that. So for me, I want to start with, you know, building the mind, then the body will follow. We do it backwards back home. You know, we building athletes, but their minds are not there. So we have to link both of them, and then we're going to create all the success that we want to see. So I want to do things like this with you, you know.
I like to say that a man's mind is the strongest weapon he has.
Yes, sir.
And it gets us through times where we don't really think we can get through.
Facts.
So that's something I always say.
Facts. Amen to that. So doing things like that, I think will be very powerful. Like, I want to have seminars for kids, not just doing basketball camps and football camps like how we always do. Like, that's okay. But, you know,
teaching them financial literacy.
Yeah, you know, we have to do all of that. They're not getting that at home. So, you know, we have to do things like that, exposing them to tech. Tech industry is becoming big right now. Like, look how many athletes investing in Bitcoin and all of these other, you know, technology companies and startups and things. So that's what I envision coming up to empower my community.
Mike, it's always a pleasure just to be around you. Thank you for coming on the show. He's Reed Washington. I go by the name of Joshua Hicks. This is Opinionated, the podcast, Miami edition. Love, always.
Love. Yeah, that's dope, bro.
A few days ago, someone asked if I can go back in time and change anything, what would it be? I replied, I would have stepped on more toes. The thought of making sure everyone is comfortable with the decision you're going to make to better your life can at times be gut-wrenching, in a sense that you want everyone to be comfortable, yet who cares about your feelings? This week, be a tap dancer, because you shouldn't let anyone make you feel guilty on pursuing your goals. As always, God bless. Asila.